Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Patrice, and in this video we will be talking about things I've read. And now let's get started. So in this video I'm going to be talking about 6 books that I've just finished recently. The first one is a cozy mystery, and the title is Betrayal at Blackthorn Park by Julia Kelly. And the summary says, freshly graduated from a rigorous training program in all things spycraft, former typist Evelyn Redfern is eager for her first assignment as a field agent, performing a simple security test at Blackthorn Park. When Evelyn discovers Blackthorn Park's chief engineer dead in his office, her assignment becomes more complicated. Now, this book is the second entry in this series by Julia Kelly, and the first one was Traitor in Whitehall, and I love Traitor in Whitehall. So when I saw she had a second entry in the series, I just had to pick it up. And this one, I liked it because, again, it gives us more historical info about what was happening during World War II. And I love the characters. I like Evelyn and the other supporting characters in the book. They're like classic cozy mystery characters. Really enjoy them, and I was happy to see that she was continuing the series. Now, the things I didn't like. So this book was actually kind of boring to me. It moved very slow compared to the first entry, the first book in the series, and it just felt like this one was missing something. Like the last one, it was like a classic case of like spies and trying to figure out who's on the good side and who's the traitor. In this one, it just, I guess the crime just didn't measure up. Like, I didn't feel like there was a lot riding on this crime. Like, it didn't make sense why the murderer was going around killing people. It just didn't feel as high stakes as the first one, as the first book in the series. So I guess that's why I just didn't enjoy this entry as much. And I did end up giving this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Trial of Mrs. Rhinelander by Denny S. Bryce. And this is a historical fiction, and the author is an African American woman. And the overview says, born to English immigrants who've built a comfortable life, Alice Jones believes she's found love with Leonard Kip Rhinelander, the shy heir to his prominent white family's real estate fortune. Alice is white, though she is vaguely aware of rumors that question her ancestry. Gossip her parents dismiss, but when the lovers secretly wed, Kip's father threatens her new husband's inheritance unless he annuls the marriage. So I really enjoyed the setting of this story. It's set in the 20s during the Harlem Renaissance in New York. The book moves at a good clip, so you're not bored and you can get through it pretty fast. It's about 300 pages, but yeah, you can get through it pretty quickly. And the thing that absolutely drew me to this book is that it's a real life scandal. So you can Google the characters from the book and you can actually see pictures of these people. You can read the news articles that were written about them. You can look up like all the missing like parts of the story if you want it. So that was pretty cool and very interesting to me. The things that I didn't enjoy and which made the book a little bit frustrating were the main characters were totally unlikable, and even some of the supporting characters. So Alice, she really came off as selfish and just like obsessed with Kip. She called Kip Lenny, so I'll probably call him Lenny for the rest of this review. So she was obsessed with Lenny, um, and she just could not see any of his flaws. And Lenny was very weak when dealing with his family, and he was very mean sometimes to Alice, and um, yeah, like a total pushover for his family. And then Alice's family, she has some sisters, um, and it wasn't that they were unlikable, but um, there was just some drama with the sisters, which, if you read the book, um, it was understandable why there was drama. And let's see, I was very frustrated with how Alice's family dealt with race. This book, it deals with passing, so they think that Alice tricked Lenny into marrying her by claiming to be white, and then they find out that she is black. But Alice really does think that she's white. Like, her family raises her as a white person, even though her father is a mixed race man. So they do not consider themselves mixed race like the children. They consider them white because Alice's mom is white. And I am thinking they think that way because they came to America and maybe they had different ideas about race where they were originally from. But one part of the book set, like, I don't know, like I would think once they got to America and they saw how things here were, that they would be like, oh, okay, so we're not white anymore. No, they still stuck with we're white. But it's sort of like they acknowledge it and they don't acknowledge it, because one part of the book, Alice says to her family, she says, "We stopped being white the day you and Daddy stepped off the boat at Ellis Island." So it's like they know in their heads that they aren't white, but they still want to live like white people. It just doesn't make any sense. It was just very frustrating. And then there are like a couple of characters that were just not flushed out, and they did not need to be in the book. So one of them was Alice's niece, Roberta, and then the other was Marvel, which was a news reporter that was following Alice's story, but they just felt like side characters. They were just like there to further Alice's story, and they really didn't have much of a role beyond that. And I would have liked to learn more about them, or I guess if the author wasn't going to tell us more about them, then she should have kept the story, I guess, just between Lenny and Alice. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, we just should have gotten more of their relationship and how they tried to deal with the dad trying to break them apart. Let me see. Oh, one other thing. So Alice, like, they were trying to hold on to the nonsensical idea that they were white, but Alice used her blackness to win a court case against Lenny's father, but she still wanted to think she was white. So yeah, I gave this book a 4 stars out of 5, just because it was about real life characters. Next, we have Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret by Benjamin Stevenson, and this is a mystery book. And the summary says, Ernest Cunningham didn't set out to have a career solving crimes, But here he is with 2 high-profile murder cases under his belt, which means it's his turn to participate in the time-honored tradition of the holiday special. The clues are abstract and the suspects even more obscure. As Ernest begins making a list of suspects, he realizes he's up against the most devious plot he's faced so far. So I picked this book up because it was, like a nice, thin book. It would be very easy to read and to get through. I also like that it kept you guessing until the end, like with all the clues and the people involved and things like that. I don't have really like any dislikes of the book. The only thing is I'm not sure if I would read any more in this series. It just didn't capture me as a series that I would want to continue, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I'm going to talk about is All the Skills, Book 1 by Honour Rae, and this is a fantasy young adult LitRPG. So a LitRPG is a new genre for me, and it's a subgenre that combines fantasy and sci-fi with role-playing game elements. Characters are in a game-like world and must learn the game's mechanics to progress throughout the story. So like I said, this was a first for me, and I like that just because when I was younger, I liked playing like Super Mario and Street Fighter and all those things. And this reminded me of Super Mario, where you can get power-ups and stuff throughout the game and use them to your advantage. So the overview says, for a boy coming of age and discovering a magical self-reliance and new powers for every occasion, the future is in the cards. Arthur lives with his father in Border Village 49, condemned to toil in service to the Baron. But Arthur has an edge, a stolen heart card he received from a dragon. Arthur flees and joins a trader caravan, but when he meets Horatio, his new best friend, Arthur discovers the greater powers to come by building on the legendary card hidden close to his heart. So again, the likes. I like this because, again, this is my first LitRPG, and I thought this was just an interesting way to create a story. And there's lots of magic and fantasy elements in the story. We have dragons and trolls, and you have wizards and things like that. So that was good. Now, the things that I really didn't care for, it just seemed like besides Arthur, the other characters in the book aren't as developed. So it mentions, like in the summary, it mentions his friend Horatio, but he didn't meet Horatio until like almost the second half of the story. And even from there, we really don't know too much about Horatio, like how he got to the place of meeting Arthur, and like why he's there and what his motivations are. He really doesn't even say much throughout the story. And also, Arthur is just really concerned about getting these cards. So these heart cards are the things that give them the power-ups and the skills that they use throughout the story. And he is just obsessed with getting like more cards, and that's all we hear about are the cards. And I would have just liked to have seen like more growth in like his relationships with, like making friends, or with his family and stuff like that, or loyalty, just other things besides being more powerful in this world. But I did want to continue the rest of the story. So this was only book 1. And it looks like there are 2 other books. but I wasn't able to find them like in any library like in Massachusetts. So it looks like I may have to get them through Libby, and I really don't like reading like books on the screen. But I didn't want to buy these either because I don't know if I'll like books 2 and 3 like I like book 1. Um, but overall, I gave this book a 4 stars out of 5. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. And this is a contemporary fiction. And this author is an African American woman. And the summary says identical sisters Desiree and Stella Vines run away at 16 from their small black southern community. Many years later, Desiree returns to town with her daughter, while Stella secretly passes for white in California. What will happen when their own daughter's storylines intersect? So this story, okay, this is going to be an unpopular opinion. This story, it just did not do it for me. So I know this book was on like the Goodreads like list of best books and stuff like that. I did not enjoy this at all. Yeah, this story, it was just sad. It was just a sad story. Like I didn't enjoy this. So let me give you the few things that I like. Now, Desiree, I liked Desiree, and I liked her story, like with Early, who ends up being like technically, they didn't define their relationship, but they were boyfriend girlfriend. So I liked Desiree and Early's story, and I did enjoy the complicated family dynamics because I believe everyone could relate to that. Like we all have families, and you know, everything is not like rainbows and sunshines with everybody in their family. So I get that. But I just feel like this story revolved around Stella. Like everyone's thinking about Stella and looking for Stella, and then we get Stella's convoluted thinking, and yeah, it was just too much Stella in this story. I wanted more of Desiree. I wanted to learn more about like their relationship. Like after they are reunited, we don't really get much else from the sisters. So yeah, I just didn't enjoy that part. Like I think like having the twins, Desiree and Stella, having their daughters meet up in the future, I didn't like that part either. I would have wished the story would have just focused on Desiree and Stella instead of adding the daughters in, because I really didn't like the daughters. I didn't like either daughter. Didn't like Jude, and I didn't like, I forgot the other daughter's name. Yeah, I didn't care for them. And I don't believe this story went far enough exploring like racial identity and passing. So this is another story about passing. And I think the way that I understood it, Stella passed because she could, and to have an easier life. And I would have liked to have seen her use the freedom that she received from passing to help other Black people, you know, like to be a revolutionary, I guess. Like she could have sent money, you know, like to her mom back home and like help the townspeople there. Yeah, so I don't know. Like it just seemed like she had a superficial reason for passing, Like it was just, I want my life to be easy, so I'm going to pass. And I guess that is a reason why some people did it, but I don't know. I would think it would be more complicated than that. And we didn't really get to see her wrestle with passing, besides the fact that she was scared she was going to get caught. And that was it. Like I said, most of these characters were unlikable, like the daughters, Stella. I just could not stand Stella. Desiree deserved like so much better than worrying about her sister. Like it was just so frustrating to read Stella, and she was just like the things that she did in the name of being white were absolutely horrendous. And yeah, Desiree definitely deserved better. I wish more of this story focused on Desiree. I was at first, when I first read this book, I was going to give it 4 stars, but after I sat and thought about it, no, I just couldn't. No. It was just such a sad story. Like it really brought me down after I finished it. So I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. And I want justice for Desiree. The last book I'm going to talk about is 2 Parts Sugar, 1 Part Murder by Valerie Burns. And you may have guessed, this is a cozy mystery, and the author is an African-American woman. And the summary says, Maddie Montgomery is looking to rebrand her life after being stood up at the altar. Her aunt leaves her an inheritance of a bakery business and new home in New Bison, Michigan. Maddie's ready to tackle the challenge until New Bison's mayor is fatally stabbed and Maddie's fingerprints are on the murder weapon. So the things I liked about this book is that we have recipes included in the back. The characters are very, very likable. I really like Maddie and the supporting characters in the book. And again, as I mentioned previously, like cozy mysteries by African American authors are very hard to find. So just being able to find another author that, I could pick up was a plus. Now, the things that I did not like. Now, this took the rating all the way down. So if you get a mystery book, you are looking to solve a mystery, okay? So if you get a mystery, you want to solve a mystery. And the mystery in this book was not solved. It was not resolved. It was so frustrating to get to the end and not have a resolution. And besides that, there were multiple inconsistencies in the story. So I don't want to give away too many and spoil it for everyone, but for instance, in the story, Maddie overhears 3 people in a room conspiring against her. So we're thinking, okay, there's 3 bad guys. By the time we get to the end, there's 1 bad guy. And it's like, what happened to the other 2? So there are 2 people running around that were in on this thing who didn't get caught. So what does that mean? Then the person that they caught says that Maddie's aunt was hurt by someone else. And even Maddie's aunt says she has a traitor in her group of friends. So again, begging the question, where are the other 2 people that were in on this thing? to give this 5 stars. And when I got to that ending, pew, that brought it all the way down. So I would give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Like, really, if I'm getting a cozy mystery, I need a resolution. Unless she is setting this up for, you know, a continuation further in the series. But yeah, even still, like, you just don't leave like multiple threads hanging. So I couldn't get with that. That is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have read any of these stories, please let me know what you thought in the comments. If any of them sound interesting to you, let me know as well. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.